What's up everyone, I'm Marian, and in this video I'm gonna break down the biggest lessons I learned coaching hundreds of drivers in a couple of years, from complete beginners to top speed drivers. There are some patterns that you see them over and over again. So the goal of this one will be just to expose those patterns, but also give my personal opinion on this topic. And I want to start with something that's not that obvious, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but you don't need coaching in all the stages of your development. The way that I see coaching is a tool that you're using when you're at a plateau, where you've tried your best, but you can't improve. And of course, if you get coaching early on, like from your day one first step, it's not going to be bad, but it's not going to be the best way to deal with this situation, because the best way, in my opinion, of a driver just trying to improve is using first all the free resources, like using YouTube, using some books, using some courses, trying everything on your own, having that direct experience, and then getting into coaching and approach a coach and then try to get past the plateau. And as I said, it's not just about the financial aspect, because obviously this is cheaper than getting coaching, but it's the way of thinking. Because when you're trying, when you're struggling, when you're frustrated in a way, you're learning, you're getting that direct experience. And when you're with a coach, then you can get more out of the coaching session. But it's not just getting more about the coaching session itself, it's just about developing yourself, knowing the theoretical aspects before going into the coaching session, and then having the coach connecting the dots for you, you will understand so much more. So in my opinion, don't get coaching unless you're really struggling and you're tried your best, you're at a plateau, you exhausted all the resources that you could use at the moment, and then you go into coaching. This is the most efficient way to go about it, and I wanted to start with this first. Now, with this out of the way, one of the most common things that I've seen in coaching sessions all the time is the mistake of pointing to the apex while braking. It's basically braking and turning almost at the same time. So by the time you're getting to the actual turning point, the car is not using all the track. You're just drifting away from the outer edge of the track. And you're basically making your radius shorter into the corner. You push less speed. You wouldn't be able to go early on the gas and carry that amount of speed also on the exit. I tackled this topic on a couple of videos already, but recently Tom, which is also a coach, has made an incredible video about it. And the video that you're seeing right now is actually from his video. So I highly encourage you to watch it through. It's an amazing resource. It will be linked in the video description. And I can guarantee that even if you're an advanced driver, you're still doing that mistake to some extent. Another thing that I see all the time with my students is them having the tendency to choose just the fixed setup series. So basically driving with the same setup as everyone else. They don't want to deal with a different setup, thinking that first they have to learn how to drive with a fixed setup, and then when they get better, then they could go into, open series and change their setups. The problem with this is that fixed setups are generally very safe, but also very sluggish. The car is not that quick to respond to your inputs. And when you're trying to get better, when you're trying to put into practice the different techniques that you're learning, it will be actually easier to practice on an open setup because the car will be a bit more loose. And yes, sometimes the open setup is a bit harder to drive, but it will teach you more. And to be honest and to be fair, if you're using a good setup, it should actually be easier, because all these setup shops, they are trying to exploit every little small detail in the sim and in the physics to give you a faster car. So if you're avoiding open setups just because you think that you have to first go into the fixed setups and then you're eligible to go to open setups just because you need to learn more to be able to drive open setups, that's not necessarily the truth. In my opinion, it's the complete opposite. You should be starting with open setups and have a good foundation early on. Now, of course, if you're just starting out and you don't want to spend money, because let's be honest, setups are costing something. They're not free most of the cases. And if you're just starting out, then of course, yeah, go with a fixed. But as you get more serious, then go with an open setup. And by the way, I don't want to make a shameless plug, but I want to recommend something that I honestly believe in. If you want a good setup shop, check out Go Setups. They have amazing setups. I tested them myself, and we also have a 10% discount code here. Link will be in the video description. They also support plenty of sims, not just iracing, and in all honesty, for what you're paying and the price that they're having, it's just amazing. But anyways, try to give open setups or open series a chance, because also, I will add just one more thing about this topic. In open series, generally the driving standard is better because people are driving and experimenting with different setups. It means they drive more, they prepare more for a race. Because they prepare more for a race, they actually know how to drive. And because they know how to drive, because they have experience on the track, the racing is cleaner. So that's another thing that might push you to try open series if you're doing just fixed. Now, another pattern that I see it all the time is the issue with timing. And this can be very subtle in some cases, but in others it can be quite obvious. What I mean by this is drivers are generally aware that they have to trail brake into the corner, they should go on the power confidently, they know about braking, downshifting, and all the basic concepts. They know the Lego blocks. But when you have to put everything together, there's gonna be a mismatch. And that mismatch is often seen as a delay in the inputs. It's either the inputs being delayed or the inputs being fast forward. So you will see drivers that are braking a little bit earlier, a little bit harder, arriving at the apex with a lower speed, lower than ideal speed, which messes the timing. And then the result will be they will go on throttle earlier than it should. And, slow in, fast out. It doesn't work if you're very, very fast on the throttle. If you're too quick on the throttle, you will understeer on your way out. You will get an early apex, you will go wide on the exit. So the problem here is not necessarily the way that you're braking or the way that you're pushing the throttle, is the moment that you start braking and the moment that you start pushing the throttle, you see? So it's the timing. And in order to fix the timing, you need to have precise references, atomic references. You need to know at least 2 points in a corner, a point for braking and the second point for pushing the throttle. If you don't have these 2 references, then the likelihood of you missing the timing is going to be quite high. And of course, the timing issue and the references issue can be fixed generally by just copying better drivers, copying quick drivers. But this is actually one of my points here, and one of the mistakes that I see while coaching a lot of drivers is that when they're copying someone, they're trying to actually copy everything, and it's not going to work. If you just look at the brake trace and you're trying to copy a brake trace and you see like the brake trace is going up and down in the lower part and you're thinking, oh, then I should do that too. It's not going to work, because for sure, 100%, you won't have the same exact speed in the same track conditions, in the same fuel load, with the same setup, and so on. So don't be obsessed about all those small details trying to replicate other drivers. They're doing it based on feel. They're dancing at the grip limit. It's important to see the bigger picture. It's important, of course, to take the reference, the braking references, the turning references, the overall brake shape, the overall throttle style of application, because this will tell you a lot. And of course, learning to read telemetry will help a lot. And a lot of drivers that get into coaching, they actually know how to read telemetry. So in my experience, people are actually aware of it, but they are too obsessed about copying the things that they're seeing in the telemetry. So they know how to read it, but the problem is that they know to read it too well to the point that they think that they should actually copy everything. That's not the case. Instead, focus more on feel, being able to induce understeer, being able to induce oversteer, having the technical background to do it, of course, because you really need to know the theory behind it. And if you want to learn more about it, you can check out my website. I also have some free section on my website where you can learn more about it, and on my channel, of course, and my courses. But anyways, the idea is most of the small things that you're trying to copy are done by drivers on feel. They want to induce understeer, oversteer. They're playing with the car balance in such a way that it's going to be impossible for you to replicate if you're trying to do it mechanically. you see. And I want to add one more thing. This is more like a personal opinion and something that I noticed with my students. Some of them are really passionate, and they really put the hard work, and they're pushing 100 and 200 maybe percent all the time in the beginning, but they get burned out. Someone that's constantly putting the effort, even though that effort might not be 100%, but they're doing it for months, maybe 1 year, will always beat someone that's pushing 200% but just for a month. So the long run here is the winning strategy, because the truth is everyone needs time. With the correct approach, with the perfect racing technique, with the coach that can just guide you through, you still need the time for all that information to settle. So if you're trying to hurry the process and to rush everything, some drivers maybe are able to do it, but many others are not, and you will set yourself up to disappointment, and it's not gonna be the best way. So just give it time. Also, don't try to get like 10 coaching sessions in 2 weeks. It's not gonna work that way. If you're getting a coaching session, wait at least 1 or 2 weeks for that information to settle, for you to be able to practice it. So the main point would be, don't try to rush things. It's not gonna work out in most cases. So anyways, this is my take on all these topics that I've seen over the couple of years. It's not everything, but in my opinion, those are the most important ones in a way. If I will feel the need to make a second part of this video, I will do it, because this is not everything. But I hope that I shared with you some things that are not that obvious, some subtleties, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Check out my website if you want to improve more. And looking forward to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.